Hello, fellow literates. Today we are going to talk about The Odyssey, the movie. I have not done a script. I'm just going to go off what I thought of the movie, a little bit of a discourse that I've heard about the movie, and how it affected the story, and if it affected it at all, and if you should watch it or not, and the actors, of course. Starting off, I want to do a fit check. What I wore to the Odyssey. I had this bag with me, very beautiful. You cannot see, but I wore a long satin skirt with beautiful pumps, and then I had these shades as well. Let's get into about the Odyssey movie. First of all, Christopher Nolan movies can be a hit or miss. You can either love it or you can either hate it. But this movie, I would say the criticism was so invalid because it did not even affect the story whatsoever. About the Odyssey, I went there with my fiance. My fiance had no incline of what it was about because it did not correlate that Greek mythology and Greek history was correlated to the Odyssey because he just never thought about it. He just thought it was another fiction movie. Well, we blame the system here, the learning system here in my country, which is a failure on his teacher in history class. I knew what the Odyssey was. I have been wanting to read the Peter Green version, and I have been wanting to read the Emily Wilson version, but after this movie, I think I will be picking up the Emily Wilson one because I think it's going to be more easily read and easily digestible, even though I do read a lot of books, I don't mind. I have an educational background in history and English literature, so for me, it's really no problem to read harder literature. However, I think I would rather enjoy my time reading the Odyssey instead of having it ruin my love for it through reading a very, very dull book. I'm currently trying to read Crime and Punishment, and it's going. That's all I'm gonna say. I also love reading fantasy and such. Classics are a little bit different. Starting off, let's look at the actors. So we had Tom Holland as Telemachus, which I think he did a great job. I knew there were people clowning him for his "my dad is coming back" scene. I disagree with you heavily if you clowned on him. How dare you clown on Tom Holland? How dare you? I really like Tom Holland. I think he's a great actor, and I'm happy to see him in another movie. And I'm also going to be watching Spider-Man by the end of this month because I'm such a big fan of Spider-Man. Anyways, so Tom Holland for me is a great actor, and I really, really like his work and how he does it. And he played Telemachus wonderful, which is in this case Odysseus' son. And Odysseus was played by the man, I forgot his name. I'm so sorry, guys, if you're fans of him, but he did a great job playing Odysseus. I really liked his way of portraying Odysseus. I really liked the emotions in his words and how he played him. Then we have Anne Hathaway as Penelope, and I think she did a fantastic job. I loved the rage. There was like a scene of her raging. Oh my god, I wish I could show you it, but I cannot. You'll have to watch the movie for yourself to see it. But there was a scene where she criticized the society, and I just really felt very, very touched by it because it's so nice to see like more female representation in movies overall and how they must have probably felt during those times. So I really loved that. I had no issue. And then I felt the lady that played Helen of Troy, a lot of people hated her because of her skin tone, which is for me very, very shallow. Honestly, she played great, Helen of Troy. I think she did a great job playing that position, and I think she should not deserve any criticism. I think she did well, and I think it was good. I liked the twist on the like story and like the different characters and everything. And don't get me started on how much I love Zendaya's act as Athena. She did great. Like obviously the actor playing Calypso did well, and the actor playing Cersei, oh my god, both Calypso and Cersei were really good, but Cersei, I felt her emotions were very visible through, like on her face and how she like felt. Love that. Also, the blind man was amazing. There's so much I could say. I just don't know, unfortunately, all of the actors' names. I just think everyone did a fantastic job in this movie as playing these characters. I really advise everybody to watch the movie, and if you don't want to get spoiled a little bit more on my thoughts of the movie, you should stop right here and just go watch it and then come back later after you're done. Moving on from actors, let's go on to my thoughts of the movie. This will be probably a very spoilery section. I think the hate was invalid on many of these things because I loved it. So for example, Telemachus never meeting his dad. And then he finally met his dad, and I just felt like the dog Argus was a really great representation of like that scene really touched me, and I started crying in the like cinema because Argus, the dog's name that is, he was alive for 20 years. Which dog is alive for 20 years? He was alive for 20 years, waiting for his master to come back. He was on the verge of dying, And the second his master comes back, Odysseus that is, he recognizes him instantly. And he gets so happy, and then he dies in peace. That is such a great visual representation, because Telemachus, Odysseus' son, saw that, and that's when it clicked for him that this random beggar is actually his father, not some random beggar on the street that knows a lot and was actually just signed on and were working under Odysseus in the war. Now moving on from this scene specifically, I love the scene and it was great to watch it in 70 mm. I don't think I could ever see this movie without watching it on 70 mm. That was so, yeah, I could probably, but like it was great. It was like it felt like old time cinema, and I was living. Nonetheless, moving on from this scene, we're going to jump back and forward because, as I said, this is not scripted. It's just my thoughts and what I think of the movie. But that really touched me. That scene with Argus, and I know that in the book it's also a dog involved, and I will probably do like a comparison video or a video of the book, what I thought about it and how similar it was to the movie. At the moment, I'm just ranting about the movie itself because I really thought it fascinating and a really good piece of work of art. So that scene was really great with Argus the dog. I also really loved how we saw like the war on Troy when he went into this horse that it was supposed to be a gift for Athena, and then they defied the gods. Basically they lured the people to take this gift in for Athena, and then they walk out of the horse and basically defied like the gift, the gods, and slaughtered a lot of people. And then they won the war, yes, but at what cost? At what cost did they won the war? They won the war, but they lost the honor and they lost the privilege of the gods, basically, and therefore they got so cursed as well afterwards because the gods were pretty angry with Odysseus and his team. Of course, like that just makes total sense in my head. And I felt like I was like, okay, oh, this is always portrayed like in history. We see it as very epically, like we see it as an epic thing with the like, oh, he was so smart. Odysseus was so smart that he came up with this. He defied the gods and did it, even though it was against Zeus' law, basically. But he did it anyways. And then he had to pay the price for it. Because further on in the movie, he looks back on it, and we see, which I think Christopher Nolan did such a good job with, the cinematic aspect of it, is like we saw the war actually. Like we saw women getting killed, women getting assaulted, kids, everything. Like I don't know how much I can say because YouTube is strict. I also cried during that scene when we looked back on the war on Troy and how they won it, because oh my god. And then like the actor playing Odysseus was saying these things to Penelope like later on as the beggar, and Penelope didn't know if it was Odysseus or not, but later on she kind of realized that hey, this is actually probably Odysseus. And there's just so much I could say, but I think I would like for people to watch the movies on their own. But that was also such a powerful scene, and then also with the like 70 mm like classic cinema, that was so good. And I felt like the water was so blue, like the cinematics as well on the sea. We saw the lives of these soldiers after the war on Troy heading back from the war, and how Poseidon put a curse on them and stabbed his son, which was the like big ogre guy with one eye. I forgot his name. I just really like that. How then after every single little mistake Odysseus does, he had to pay a price for it. And I just felt it was so fun to go through his like so upsetting too to go through his journey, how he doesn't honor the dead sometimes, and how the dead also comes back to him later on, and then they tell him all these things that happened and how it connects to these new people and everybody wanting to get married to Penelope because nobody believes that Odysseus will make it back. Obviously he's dead, probably that's what they think. So everybody wants the throne. Every one of the bad guys wants the throne. And Penelope is so in love with Odysseus that she believes he will come back to her one day. And so does Telemachus. He believes that his father will be home someday and he did not die out there in the war. The whole movie had its purpose. The beginning, we follow the first half of the movie, we follow kind of Odysseus' life as a soldier in the war. Then the latter half of the movies, we see Odysseus more coming home, like his journey of coming home, his fight with himself, and how Calypso fell in love with Odysseus, so she kept him for 7 whole years. She thought that he was not ready to face the truth, so she fed him the lotus flower, so he would always forget his memories and forget who his wife was, who his son was, and just live happy. But then Calypso found that finally you're ready to face what's coming next. Odysseus came in time and saved his son, which I also was so happy about. Like you don't understand. I was like, please don't make me cry again. Please don't make me cry again. I don't want to cry again. Like, I don't want no more death, because the first half was so much death, so much sadness, because all these soldiers, they were defying the gods and they would never make it. And Odysseus knew that they wouldn't make it as well, but he would make it home. But he tried to defy the gods. It didn't work. He couldn't defy the gods. They all passed and died anyways, which is very sad, but it also opened Odysseus' eyes a lot, I feel, with like honoring the dead and such. And I think all of this led him to become a greater man and looking back on his wars as not a triumph. He didn't see the war on Troy as a triumphant thing. He saw it as sadness, as death, as pain, as people's rage, people's true selves coming out, them being horrendous human beings, doing things to women and men and people and killing left and right. Like, I just felt this movie was so incredibly good and so incredibly well made. I was shocked, and the cinematics were everything, in my opinion. And I also saw behind the scenes how they made these scenes out in the open with this big camera to make this 70 mm happen. And I cannot express to you how worth it was to see this movie in the cinema. It was very, very worth it. And I think it was great. I really think you should go watch it if you haven't already, and if you stay this long and listen to me talk about it. I don't want to say anything more. I want to, and the ending also, lastly, the ending, guys, the ending made me happy. I'm so happy that it was exile instead of death, that the son took the throne. I am happy. I'm pleased. I'm so pleased with this movie. I'm so happy how it turned out. Yes, it was sad. Yes, I cried like 3 times at least. I've had tears in my eyes throughout the movie because it was horrendous and was horrible to see war in front of you with your own eyes in this big cinema. It was crazy, but it was worth all my money. I paid so much money to see that movie in that 70 mm, but honestly, I would do it again. I would do it again. If I could, I would do it again. That's how good it was. So I think everybody should see this movie. I think it's another Christopher Nolan banger. Maybe some people disagree, which I don't think so. It was good. It was the closest you could get to history. I cannot find a single thing that I felt bad about this movie. Not a single thing I felt bad about this movie. That was all. I love the actors. I love these certain scenes. I felt really sad. Honestly, I would give it a Honestly, I think it's a 10 out of 10 movie. I was thinking all day today, like, what I thought about the movie, if I had anything bad of it. No, I didn't. It was a long time ago I saw a movie this good. I would give it 10 out of 10. If you haven't watched it yet, what are you doing? Go to the cinema right now. I will be buying the book. I will read Odysseus' story again in book format because I am obsessed now officially, and I really want to read the story in the book as well and see how that differs from the movie. So if you would like to see a video of that and you don't want to read the book yourself, stay tuned for that, because me, I will do it. I'll do it for you. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Those were my thoughts on the Odyssey, and everything was right. The only thing I was missing was Killian Murphy, but you know what? He's on break now, so I can forgive you, Christopher Nolan, for that. But I think Killian Murphy would do a great like villain instead of Robert Pattinson. But that's just personal preference, guys. Don't kill me because I think this way, or at least somebody other in the, like, maybe Sinan or another person in the crew could be Killian Murphy. But okay, anyways, bye.